That's a great question. So for me, um, I have employer-based health insurance, and so I've all of the standard of care treatments that I've been on have been covered by health insurance. However, I have used clinical trials extensively. I have because in some ways, I guess I kind of abandoned the standard of care a little bit because I got genomic sequencing data and that pinpointed for me what was fueling my disease, and I wanted to go after that with targeted drugs. So the only place where these targeted drugs were in clinical trials today, in kind of early phase 1, phase 2 type of environments. And so I've been really chasing that. I've been going where the drugs are. And when you do that, insurance is less important, I think, because the pharmaceutical companies are picking up a lot of the costs, and the principal investigator and the pharmaceutical companies that are running the trial, they pick up most of the costs. So it doesn't mean that insurance is not important. I have found in my experience that insurance is still getting billed for the principal investigator's time with me. And my insurance is still getting billed for, let's say, every other scan that I get during the clinical trial. I don't know what would have happened if, for example, I had insurance that restricted me to a certain geography, and yet I'm traveling to LA into a totally different geography for a trial. I don't know what would have happened. I may have been excluded, or I may not have. I don't know. But clinical trials is definitely less expensive on your insurance than normal standard of care would be. I think the other thing that insurance hasn't really picked up at all, which is definitely somewhat of a hidden cost associated with clinical trials, is all the logistics that are associated with it. So for me, I live in Portland, Oregon, yet I was traveling to Los Angeles for 2 years on a clinical trial, and now I'm traveling to Oklahoma. And certain drug companies will cover more of those logistical expenses than others. And I've had both ends of the spectrum on this. I've had a small biotech company that was sponsoring a clinical trial that covered pretty much all of my miles and my hotel, and even a little bit more, which was able to cover rent a car and food and things like that. I'm now on a trial on the completely other end of the spectrum where they are not covering hardly anything. I mean, literally zero. So that forces you to look around and try to find other sources of support, whether it's Lazarex to cover some of the clinical trial travel expenses, or the American Cancer Society, which will give you discounted hotel rooms and things like that. I've been able to successfully leverage some of those things. So yeah, you can move forward and especially access clinical trials that don't necessarily have a huge insurance role, but I do think that the insurance company, insurance coverage still plays a role in clinical trials.